Uh-huh. Well, of course, 50 years ago was 200, and I was on active duty then out in San Francisco, and at that time, the Navy had an air base in Nevada, Fallon Naval Air
Oh,
Station.
where? I was saying, wait, let me ask
They
you.
go up into the mountains and practice bombing. And they had an ammunition to talk right in about it. About an hour and a half south of Kansas City. So, a couple Marines decided that somebody they were going to steal a bunch of bombs. They were guarding at the.
You ready? You good?
So they're going to steal some bombs.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It is truly an honor to stand here before you today as we celebrate a milestone that has been years, indeed decades, in the making. Today is more than a ribbon cutting. Today is the realization of a vision, the reward of perseverance, and the beginning of a new chapter in our community. Today, our distinguished guests, elected officials, community leaders, project partners, engineers, contractors, first responders, railroad representatives, and the many citizens who have joined us this morning, thank you for being here to share in this historic moment. Communities are often defined by projects they build. Some projects create buildings, others create parks. But every once in a while, a project comes along that changes the way a community moves, grows, and connects. This railroad overpass is one of those projects. For years, these railroad tracks have served as both vital transportation corridor and at times a barrier. Families waiting at crossings, emergency vehicles delayed during critical moments, school buses adjusting schedules, businesses navigating traffic congestion. We have all experienced that impact. Today, that changes. I would like to introduce to you Jason Kaiser, Deputy Commissioner for the Indiana Department of Transportation.
Okay, thank you very much, Shelley. And good morning. On behalf of the Indiana Department of Transportation, I want to thank you all for coming and joining us this morning and braving the heat today. So the highways of Indiana, the Indiana Department of Transportation, connect communities across the state, but they also run through the heart of most communities. This gives us the unique position to be partners in developing transportation solutions with those communities. And I will tell you today that there is no greater partner than the Mayor Long and the city of Wabash. Mayor, I believe it was back in 2016, we sat in your office. That's your first year in office, right? 2016, right? And we sat there and we talked about some different things that you wanted to accomplish. And when the conversation rolled around to this grade separation, I explained it was going to be a pretty costly and pretty complex project, and might be real tough to get funding, right? But it'd be important to get a consultant on board and start looking at potential crossing locations, develop some cost estimates, things like that. And just 1 year later, in 2017, the state legislature voted to increase road funding through the House Enrolled Act 1002. This bill authorized and funded the Local Tracks program, which provided $125 million for local communities to improve railroad safety. And when INDOT released the call for projects in 2018, the city of Wabash was ready to jump on that opportunity. This grade separation project will remediate a long-standing problem in the city of Wabash, namely the downtown traffic congestion caused by numerous slowed and even stopped trains on the track. This project was targeted to reduce delays associated with that at-grade crossing. However, this separation will also provide significant safety benefits by reducing vehicle-train conflicts and providing unobstructed emergency vehicle response from one side of the city to the other, even while trains are going across. Governor Braun, thank you for your vote back in 2017 that helped make this program become a reality and for your continued support for infrastructure funding. I believe the strength of this nation's infrastructure is part of what makes us the greatest nation in the world. And Indiana's infrastructure consistently ranks among the best in the nation. Continued investment in our infrastructure will allow us to remain that way for generations to come. And NDOT always strives to be efficient and purposeful in the use of the taxpayers' dollars that are entrusted to us. Mayor Long, thank you for your partnership these last 10 years, and I look forward to working on more projects with you in the city of Wabash in the years ahead. And finally, to the community of Wabash, I thank you for your patience these last couple of years, putting up with the noise, dust, and inconvenience that comes along with delivering a project like this. I hope that seeing the finished product now, you join me in the belief that it was well worth the wait. Thank you all again for coming, and I wish you a safe and happy 250th celebration of our nation's independence this weekend. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jason. I now want to introduce to you Patrick McAllister, Indiana Business Leader of WSP.
Thank you, Shelley. Age is catching up. Got to put my glasses on. Sorry. Thank you, Mayor Long, for asking me to make some comments. We were very proud to be the lead design firm for this important project for the city. We were thrilled to be able to work with the Indiana Department of Transportation in the city on this project. When we were selected for this project initially and started looking at the concepts and layouts, it didn't take us long to realize that how much this was going to change this corridor and city as far as functionality and appearance. But to really stand here today in the heat and look out at the finished product, it's amazing. I might be a little biased, but I think it looks really good. A lot of effort went into planning this. To provide a safe, consistent grade, separated crossing is incredibly rewarding. We hope it serves your community well in the coming years and more to come. I will give some credit to our partners and our project managers. George Watson led it through design. Carl Krukenberg finished it through construction. Our teaming partners of Compass, CTL, Hanson, and SGCA played vital roles in making sure this was completed. For me personally, I was fortunate enough to handle the land acquisition of the project in my prior role. We ended up relocating 10 residences, but what I really enjoyed was getting to meet some of the property owners along this corridor, hear their stories, hear about the neighborhood. That really left a lasting impression on me. In all my years, 30-some years in the industry, this is really one of my favorite projects to work on just because of the relationships I've built throughout the process. Our partners on the land acquisition side of Dodd Title, J Real Estate, First Appraisal Group, Comprehensive Land Procurement, Margie Stankoven and CMK Real Estate really knocked it out of the park when it came to land acquisition side. I want to give a special thank you to Mayor Long. Him and I worked pretty close throughout the project, and he was very engaged and wanted to make sure this project kept moving along and delivered for the city, which we did. Also give a special thanks to Street Superintendent Scott Richardson, who was a huge help in making sure the properties were boarded up properly before demolition. Couldn't have done it without him either. And I just want to extend mine and WSP's congratulations to NDOT and the city for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. To provide a historical overview on this long-awaited project and its significance to the community of Wabash, I would like to introduce to you one of our local historians, Mr. Pete Jones.
It takes me longer to get to the platform than it does for some people to get across the tracks from the trains. 3 or 4 years ago, I think it has been, when Scott first announced publicly that this overpass was on the planning stage, I'm sure that my eyes rolled back in my head, and I said, oh, yeah, one fine day. Well, this is the day. Believe it or not, it has happened. Now, I had reasons for doubt because shortly after the railroad pushed through here in the 1850s, people began to complain. They welcomed it at first with open arms, but locomotives were noisy. They belched black coal smoke. Women along Hill Street and Sinclair Street had to determine which way the wind was blowing if they uh, hung up their clothes. And the railroad lost some of its luster. But the chief complaint was, through the years, having to wait till the crossings cleared. Now, the trains were shorter in those years, but they were slower. And most people don't realize it, but freight trains stopped in one to unload all sorts of merchandise, material for factories, and they picked up carloads of manufactured goods. And that switching took place in front of the old freight depot, which stood on the north side of the tracks, just east of Huntington. I don't think there are many people in the crowd today who remember that freight station, but it was double tracked there. So Wabash Street and Miami Street and Huntington Street were often blocked for hours at a time as switching was done. There were numerous schemes presented through the years how to solve that problem. The most ambitious, and I won't describe all of them, I'll just stick with one. Some thought that there should be an underpass on Cass Street. Now, people who have lived here know that there's an awful lot of limestone down that area. And to create an underpass, you would have had to start roughly where the Elks Club is today and come north. And it would have been horribly expensive and labor consuming. Well, the Carnegie Library Board decided to build the library there in 1903, and that ended that. So the project laid dormant for quite a while, but it never quite left the stage. I'm going to have to check my notes here on something. Because I don't, thank you. Oh,
Look here, go.
yeah, thank you. Now, my very favorite story from the old newspapers on the problems that the block crossings created. Sometime around 1868, the crossings were tied up for more than an hour. People grew very frustrated, and somebody went across to the courthouse to get the sheriff. Now, could the sheriff do anything about that? Probably not. But the sheriff came, and he was rather perplexed. You know, why am I here? Why are they calling on me to unblock this crossing? But he did his duty, and he looked around, and in that freight station that I just described, he found the train crew sequestered behind stacks of boxes. They were having their lunch, and one was taking a nap. They had left the train parked to block all those crossings. Well, thanks to what the mayor and the city council and numerous other agencies have done here today, the train crew coming through could now have an uninterrupted lunch because nobody would demand the sheriff's presence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. This overpass represents safer travel, improved emergency response, and a better quality of life for everyone who calls this community home. It is an investment not only in concrete and steel, but in people, in our children, our families, our businesses, and our future. Projects of this magnitude don't happen because of one person or one organization. They happen because people from different agencies, different levels of government, and different backgrounds choose to work together toward a common goal. Today's celebration belongs to everyone who refused to give up on the vision, everyone who chose not to give up solving problems, securing funding, navigating challenges, and they kept this project moving forward. We recognize that there were many obstacles along the way. Every major project has its share of hurdles, delays, and difficult decisions. But today serves as a reminder that when a community stays focused on the destination, remarkable things can happen. To everyone who played a role, whether large or small, thank you. Your dedication has left a lasting legacy that generations to come will benefit from every single day. Since taking office, Governor Braun has emphasized strengthening Indiana's economy, supporting public safety, investing in infrastructure, and ensuring that Indiana remains one of the best places in America to live, work, raise a family, and do business. Please join me in giving a warm Wabash welcome to the 52nd Governor of the great state of Indiana, Governor Mike Braun.
So when I was here a couple months ago, we didn't have the pavement down. I think it was slightly cooler then. But everything I've heard, I think I've enjoyed the story from over here the most. In high school, I wasn't a big history fan. It's my favorite subject now. The First Lady knows that. And so much of our history of this state is about places like Wabash, Indiana. I think you're got the notoriety too. Were you the first that got electrified across the country? Most Hoosiers probably don't know that. I didn't know that until probably a few years ago. And then our local historian cited that back in 17, House Bill 1002, I was asked to be a co-author of that bill because if you ever come to visit me, the First Lady in our hometown, our infrastructure is considered scenic. We've got the most difficult topography, and my impatience for what you've had to deal with to the tune of 17 trains coming through daily would be in a little town called Huntingburg, Indiana, where Highway 64 runs through, and it's one of the laterals in the southern part of the state, along with 50, and those railroad towns would have been Vincennes in Washington. And your reference to how that was ginning up the economy, because if you were a railroad town, that meant a lot in terms of your population, your growth. And of course, railroads have changed. But what hasn't changed, and I didn't realize the railroad crew would take a lunch break and nap at the same time. That's the thing I remember vividly from this conversation. Point is, even as a governor, when I'm wanting to go fishing in the south end of the county, about every third time, that fishing trip is interrupted by a train that is at least a mile long. And when you think they're coming through town, that's when they stop. And until we had the overpass there, which was done roughly 4 or 5 years ago, and of course, every person in the community, in the county, now uses it, knows how to spot if a train's coming in and whether you need to get on it. It's going to be such a blessing for your community. We're lucky. We've got the Director of Transportation, the Secretary, Matt Ubelar here. He is in charge of all the things we want to do to make sure infrastructure is taken care of, not just in the biggest cities in this state, but in the nooks and crannies. And where we live, we'd be considered part of that as well. The good news is, I come from the world of signing the front side of a paycheck. We haven't had a governor do that in 50 years, that would have been Bob Orr from Evansville, Indiana. And it's a little different approach to government. In this year and a half, our unemployment rate has dropped from 4.4% to 3.3%. That's getting into historically low territory. We're running government more efficiently to the tune of about $1 billion a year, which means we can do more projects through Ready and other things that we do. Community crossings we did in 2016. And that's why most of your streets look good. And that helps every rural county, every small town and city across our state. That is unusual. And through economic development and focusing on it from Main Street to the larger businesses, our economy is growing twice as fast as Illinois', Ohio's, 3 times as fast as Kentucky's, 6 times as fast as Michigan's. So you can look forward to more of this in and around the area. We've got a highway department that here in this state is going to have to start dealing with resources from that House Bill 1002. We knew they'd flatten and eventually wane. So we got to be creative. But if we're operating our state government better, for maybe the first time in history, we'll be doing some of that out of our general revenues, where it's only been dedicated funding. And that'll be a big discussion that I'll have to have with legislators, Hoosiers, about how we want to maintain the crossroads of America in good shape, not only on our interstates, but on Highway 24, on 231, and a lot of other places where there's in need of improvement. Mayor, congratulations on taking a 10-year project, getting through all the traps where we can ribbon cut today. It's a tribute to your leadership and to the community that came together to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Braun, for joining us today and for your continued support of infrastructure investments that strengthen communities like Wabash. It's my privilege to introduce a leader whose dedication to the city of Wabash is evident in everything he does. Since being elected mayor in 2015, he has worked tirelessly to move Wabash forward with a vision that balances honoring our past while investing boldly in our future. Mayor Long has championed projects that improve safety, strengthen neighborhoods, encourage economic growth, and enhance the quality of life for everyone who calls Wabash home. His leadership is built on collaboration, bringing together businesses, community organizations, and local leaders to make Wabash one of Indiana's premier places to live, work, and raise a family. Today's celebration is a perfect example of that commitment. The railroad overpass represents years of planning, partnership, and perseverance, and it reflects Mayor Long's unwavering focus on improving safety, mobility, and the future of our community. Please join me in welcoming a dedicated public servant, a proud veteran, and a passionate advocate for the city of Wabash, our Mayor, Scott Long.
Thanks, Shelley. Can we give her a round of applause? Thank you. Those are the nicest words she said to me since she's worked for me. Good morning, everyone. When I began discussing constructing an overpass over this railroad line, many citizens told me I'd never get it done. I thought to myself, hold my beer. Many citizens complain and still do about the location of this overpass. And why isn't it on a state highway? Pete spoke to some of the issues with putting it on a state highway. Our grade separation study that we conducted looked at every intersection in town, historic structures, roads that would have closed if it were at other locations, access to the courthouse, churches, school facilities, and costs. The estimated cost to go under Wabash or Cass Street crossings in 2017 were projected to be $30 to $40 million. The estimated cost for this location was between $10 and $12 million. That decision was a no-brainer. Now we are making further safety improvements in collaboration with NDOT and Norfolk and Southern, installing lane delineators at our other crossings to prevent weaving through crossing gates. Believe it or not, folks are complaining about those too. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody as we celebrate the opening of this new railroad overpass, a milestone that marks not just the completion of a project, but the beginning of a safer, more connected future for our community. This overpass is a result of years of planning that began in 2017 and collaboration among dedicated partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I want to thank every agency, engineer, contractor, elected official, and community partner who made today possible. For generations, Wabash residents have faced delays at these railroad crossings, impacting daily commutes, school travel, emergency responses, and business operations. Today, that changes. This overpass improves safety by separating vehicle and rail traffic, enhances efficiency by reducing delays, and supports growth by strengthening transportation for residents, visitors, and businesses. More than concrete and steel, this is an investment in people. It reflects a smart use of resources and our commitment to building infrastructure that meets today's needs while preparing for tomorrow's opportunities. As mayor, I believe in leaving our community better than we found it. This project stands as a lasting example of that commitment and what can be achieved through shared vision and cooperation. To the residents of Wabash, thank you for your patience during construction. Your support made this day possible. Today we celebrate progress, partnership, and a bright future for the city of Wabash. Thank you to everyone who helped make this day possible. Even the dogs like it. Now let's officially open this overpass and continue moving Wabash forward. Thank you, and God bless the city of Wabash.
At this time, I would like all speakers, all department heads, city council members, board of works, county commissioners, and county council to join us on the north side of the tent for a ribbon cutting.
Pat Lehman. Very well.